Anybody know what our about money situation is? Kat, you've been talking to Cindy?
No, but we did well from the Central Festival.
Okay, we'll try to have a board meeting and get the money over to the,
We made more than enough money to get.
okay,
Good
okay,
thing.
good. And you new guys, and maybe some of the old guys, whatever money we make at our gala, whatever it is, festival, we generally chop that in half, whatever we make above board, and give that to the food bank. And there's been a running custom with the government of Pineville. We get free. We don't have to pay for the facility. Okay, mixed bag.
We have 17 entries so far, 7 of which are Chris Williams's entries. So we are.
I thought I saw one we had entry today, huh?
That was Glenn Cormier, whoever that is.
Okay.
I don't know Glenn, but
Well, that was that little
Photoshop, really worked.
yeah. I sent him the clip art. I emailed it to him yesterday. So
little hand pump we got.
and we got Joel Donat's got 3. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, Joel's doing well. Yeah, Joel's got 3.
You guys hear the Bob, the mixed bag explained on the website, but it's basically if you catch cat a bass about that long, you catch one about that long, it counts just once. Okay, any salt water? Casting, we'll probably may start casting when? What do you think?
Next month.
Next month, okay, so next month, just so you guys know, I hear behind us, meeting starts at 6:18 or 6:30. And out in the back, we'll be here 5:30. There'll be casting instructors out there working with people. If nobody shows up, they'll still be casting. Okay. We had to quit it, once we went off the daylight saving time and the days were short, but we had pretty good light today. Cold water, warm water. Okay, we got I think the events calendar is up to speed online right now. Okay, the Fly Fishing 101, what's the date on that?
April 13th.
April 13th?
Yes. We moved it up a bit because Patrick told me they're going to stop production in May. As long as they're doing production, they can do the tour of the hatchery. Once production stops, they can shut it down. They close everything. So this will give attendees to Fly Fishing 101 a chance to tour the hatchery.
So it was 13th April.
Yeah, 13th. Yeah.
Okay, so when they'll be open 13th in April?
13th April, they should be open.
Okay,
But he said the 26th is really different.
okay. And there's another event coming up on 6th of June. Just a lady from the front desk came to talk to me. It's going to be here in this room. And it's, I guess it's teenagers that are out of school for the summer. And she'd like to have them about 20 minutes of our time. Talk to them a little bit about fly fishing and a little bit of casting back. Be very short.
You know what the event is?
It's called adventures that are available for kids that are out of school. There's going to be one for adults. That's on the 6th of June.
Okay.
4th of June, there's one for adults. All they need for the adults is an information page.
Okay, that's a Thursday,
What?
the 6th of June.
Is that there?
Yeah.
Well, they're out of school, so.
Yeah.
My next to those guys.
Yeah.
All the kids.
I have to get somebody to take my place to lead it up. That's the World War II museum. So.
Oh, we do that. We check. Thanks. Okay, any fishing reports besides, you want to talk about yours, and what's going on? It's my, that's a big bass.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think you land it, but
not that long, but I caught one that was 19 inches the other day. That thing took forever to land on the 5-weight. And the reason I'm fishing, I'm looking for sockeye right. And I'm catching all these bass up against the cypress roots, against structure, along, quiet banks, grass banks, everything.
But you
That's all.
fishing when it's like, at the fly.
I'm using fluff butts and poppy candies, little sea gooses.
so what you catch a big bass on?
That one this afternoon.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, football catch anything. He'll catch any fish. That's the, universal fly for anything.
Okay.
But, yeah, so I can't tell you about crappie right now. I hope I can tell y'all before the next meeting. Right now, the bass are doing good.
Oh, good.
Bass, definitely. Just
Okay, I
always
see.
been-
What's the water temperature?
Oh, it's 60 degrees. Yeah. It was at 55 and got cold that last cold spell. And the other day was 60. So it might be warmer than that with all this up. It might be around 62.
That's on Coquille, right?
Oh, not just Cotillo, but
No, no, where you fishing, South America.
yeah. But
Or,
I
you know,
mean, I've been-
Where is that?
Reopened, by the way. I was there the other day. They reopened the lake because of all the rain going too high. They opened it up. And they're catching nice crappie over there. They're still kind of deep. They're catching nice crappie. Nobody's fishing bass over there. And that's a really good bass lake. You know where Sibley is? In Natchitoches? Yeah.
That's where I live.
Yeah.
I live on Sibley.
Cane River is doing really well on bass right now. I caught 2 off the dock over there the other day. Wind was blowing too much. I didn't put my kayak in. I was just fishing off the dock, caught 2 bass. But there was a guy who came in, he had 8, and he hadn't gone more than 4 miles up the bayou. He was fishing along these reeds. He's just fishing it real slow with a lizard. Anything that's green and olive like that, just fish it real slow along there. So,
What did Keith say?
The building that, how you been doing?
I've been fine, Mike. How are
No,
you?
not fishing, I mean.
Haven't been.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Any good fishing tales or?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
where's Mr. Weeds? He's got a tale to tell from our, we went up to the Texas Fly Fishing Brew Festival this weekend. In Mesquite, in Dallas, Texas. And it was a great show, but they probably had half as many people as they did last year. I went, started going to something, I don't know. We went there. Tom Zabasky was there. And there's a gentleman he's a guide on Lake Athens. And his name is Johnny Martinez. And Johnny was casting this new rod from Winston called the Tech 2 Salt. It's a $1,200 fly rod. And he asked Tom Zabasky, he said, can this rod, it feels kind of light. It does, it feels extremely, 8-weight feels like 3-weight. He said, can this fish actually land a big bass? And Tom said, I'll show you. So Tom grabs the end of the line and he starts pulling that rod like this in a position that's unnatural. And did it and like snapped. $1,200 rod snapped off. Good thing he's a rep for Winston, or was. So,
This proves.
so that was one story.
Where did it break?
It's Second Farrell.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a bad spot because normally they make extra tips lead rods. they made very few of the other pieces. You have to replace like the butt section. That's a long wait. You have to replace one of the lower section, they actually have to do that section. So that could be about, 10-week turnaround.
Yeah, Winston's long on all sections. They don't make any, they don't keep, they're not like Orvis where they'll just send you a section.
Yeah.
Mine was in 3 months last year getting the top section. It was the top
So
section.
that may be longer.
They rebuilt them.
I've got something to add to that. I ran into Catch, Chris there, and we talked a good while. And they have a little casting pond, not a pond, but just,
They call it casting pond.
yeah, it's 5 or 6 inches of water in it. And when we first walked up there, Catch was watching them, I was just talking to them, and they had a guy teaching a young woman, they were doing about 30-foot casts. She was doing pretty well. But she quit, they just set the rod down, and some guy walked up, and he started catching. And he was doing good, but I thought,
He was having a problem to get 90 feet of water.
how long was that, about 80 feet?
Oh, yeah, 80 feet.
Anyway, they had some little sides on it, had just a little bit of water. And then they have a big backdrop, probably 9-10 feet tall at the end of it, because there were people walking back there, and he was up there casting, and then he kept getting further and further down there, and he cast towards the end of it, and his ticket landed down there at the end of it, and Catch was saying, "Now, he's just showing off, he's just telling me," and I thought this guy might have heard it, because he made one more catch, and turned, one more cast, and he turned the catch, and he said, "Here, you want to try it?" And Catch set his coat down and went over there, took the rod from him. That guy was standing there, pulled off some line, made a cast, straight as an arrow, went down there and hit the bottom of the fly line, looked like it hit the end of that thing, and some of the fly line and ticket went straight over, just as straight as an arrow, went over the top of it. He made that one cast and turned around and handed it to that guy.
That's time to put it down.
He schooled him.
That's the charge for a lesson.
I tell you what, that happened to me. I was on the other end of that. But a long time ago with Joan Wolf. I was trying to cast, and Joan Wolf gets there. And y'all know, she's about this tall. She was a ballerina. And she went there and just like the smoothest little thing like that. And that line just sailed. And it was like, it was almost no motion whatsoever. She made that line sail like 90-something feet. All these guys are just looking at each other.
How old is she? Is she still living?
I think so, but
Yep.
she's in her
She's got to be
90s.
mid-90s.
Yeah,
She is.
I think so.
she was the.
I've not heard
ladies
she's passed
casting-
away.
She was the ladies world casting champion.
She's made a lot of men too.
Oh, yeah. She beat this man.
She's 98,
Husband just passed
Don't
away.
draw against
Huh?
somebody.
Husband just passed away.
not too long ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was real. I mean, I remember reading something about it. Yeah.
Anybody else gone fishing yet? Oh, yeah.
Well, 3 of us went up to, Little Mo week before last and fished at Albert Pike one day. And I didn't do any good. I caught 2 fish there. And we decided, well, we'd go over to, Broken Bow, Oklahoma the next day. We were staying up on the northern end of Lake Greason, which was an easy drive up to Albert Pike, but also a lot easier drive over to Broken Bow. So we went over there and, I caught 1 fish over there. So it's tough fishing then, but it's fixing to get better this week. Fish better look out this week.
Lips are gonna be sore. Lips will be sore. Their lips are gonna be sore, huh?
You going to?
How's Spillway Creek?
I don't know. We didn't try. We just fished it.
Jeff, who died in 91.
Doug Bell caught, I think 14
Mhm.
right up against the bluffs at the bottom of Spillway Creek. But, You know what is fishing with? Trout magnet.
Can you use plastic over there?
Well, I don't know if it is. You know, in some areas you can.
I don't think, I
But
think
I
you're
think
right.
you probably can there, because that's not a catch and release area.
We're still like, that's not a little boat.
No, it's broken boat.
Oh, okay.
If y'all need anything from Living Water Supply Shop in Round Rock, I'll do this.
Are you? Okay.
I got forced to go to a wedding at the Rab House, which is right in front of the creek. At Russian Creek, so fair many times. And,
You could be the best dressed fly fisherman.
Not very waders in.
I wet weighted it. Got a rehearsal dinner Friday night, we got to help set up Thursday and Monday. So I'm gonna disappear as soon as I get around. My wife moves on. I gotta catch his Guadalupe, there we go.
Carlton, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready to be introduced? It's Carlton Townsend.
Relying on me.
More rainbow trout.
Well, not more than anybody, but
You've done
I am-
okay at it. Huh?
I have done okay.
All right. You want your PowerPoint up, Carl?
Yeah. As most of you know, back in September of last year, Robert Hughes and Tom Zabasky and Rick Maddox and I took a road trip out west, fished in 6 rivers in 5 states. We started off in Alexandria, excuse my shaky hand. Spent the first night in Amarillo. If you go out west, anybody that travels out there, you know, all roads lead through Amarillo to go out west. But that was like, 668 miles, so a whole day's drive to Amarillo. Got up the next morning and drove up to Casper, Wyoming, which is another 687 miles. So 2 hard days of driving to get to the first fishing hole that we stopped at. And we stopped at, well, our first place to fish was the North Platte River at Casper. And we fished 2 days there. And it's good fishing there, good strong fish, all wild fish, no hatchery raised fish in Wyoming, in fact. But really strong fish. The first day, the wind blew like 40, 45 miles an hour. I mean, it was tough. We ended up fishing with guide rods, 6-weight rods, which made it somewhat easier than what we were trying to fish with. But really good fishing. Next slide. Rick with a nice rainbow, North Platte rainbow. Tom with a nice North Platte rainbow. Robert with a nice North Platte rainbow. I don't guess I caught any fish there.
I don't see Carlton with a nice.
Our guides in the middle out of Wyoming Guide Service. What was the name of the shop, Robert? Yeah. Really good guides. And that was taken in front of their shop after our second day. But we had a really enjoyable trip there. We stayed at Red Butte Lodge. They operate as a bed and breakfast or have a cabin that accommodated 4 of us. And then they also have a larger lodge that will accommodate a large group. Well, I never have seen it, but it's on the property. I just don't know anything about it. But anyway, from Casper, we took a day sightseeing and driving through Grand Teton National Park. Next slide. Spent a little time there, just a beautiful area. Once you leave Casper and get to Riverton, Wyoming, I mean, the scenery completely changes from what you've seen for the last 3 days. You know, the one across Texas, you can imagine what that is, and then the next day it's kind of the same thing. But once we got into the Wind River Range in Wyoming, up through Grand Teton National Park, Yellowstone National Park, this is Yellowstone Falls, which is, I mean, I had to go see Yellowstone Falls one more time before I died. It's a beautiful waterfall on the Yellowstone River. And from there, we went on up to Livingston. We did all of that in one day, Livingston, Montana. And that day we covered 422 miles. So it was still a pretty good day because we stopped and did quite a bit of sightseeing and looking at wildlife and everything else on that day. We got to Livingston expecting to fish the Yellowstone River 2 days there. And the first day, the day before we got there, they'd had a lot of rain in the park, in Yellowstone National Park, and the river had muddied up. And so we went over to the Madison River west of Bozeman and fished there for a day. And it's, you know, as far as one versus the other, it's kind of hard to say. That was a nice Madison River brown. Next slide. Now, a lot of these fish that we caught were in the 18-20 inch range. I mean, we caught some really nice fish out there. Robert with a nice fish, Robert with another nice bow, a brown. The nice restaurant in Livingston was the rib and chop restaurant. I mean, it was a high class restaurant. Really, really good food, good enjoyable service and everything. Next slide. Then from Livingston, oh, by the way, that we fished after one day on the Madison, we fished the next day on the Yellowstone. It had cleared up. So some of those fish was on the Yellowstone River. Then after leaving Livingston, we drove to Challis, Idaho, on the way to Oregon to fish on the Owyhee River. And that was a long, long day. If we'd have tried to make it in one day, we originally had planned to do it, but we needed to stop and make groceries. We needed to go to the fly shop and get some flies and Boise. And so we broke it up and into a 2-day drive and sightseeing. We saw salmon making their run up the Salmon River in Idaho. I mean, it's just some beautiful scenery all throughout there. We got to the Owyhee River in Oregon. It is in extreme eastern Oregon. That's as far as we went right there. But it's almost, it's not much out of Idaho. Keith has fished on the Owyhee River, and my first fly fishing experience was on the Owyhee River about 12 years ago, I guess, with a brother-in-law that lives in the Portland area, and invited me to go out there and fish with some of his buddies. So I've been back out there a number of times, and it's a really, really nice, good river to fish. It's all wade fishing on that river. Everything else we did was drift fishing with guides. But on the Owyhee, there's no boat access. It's all wade fishing. As Rick with a guide. Rick and I fished with a guide one day on the Owyhee, and then we fished there for 3 other days on our own. But there was some really nice fish. Back up one slide. There's a 22-inch brown that I caught in Frank the Tank Hole, where our guide took us. He said there's a 25-inch brown in that hole. Oh, Frank the Tank Hole. Okay, next slide.
So Carlton, that's right outside of Boise then. I know, like close.
Yeah, it's not far, but it's about an hour and a half drive, probably from Boise. and the guides drive up from Boise. When we come lunchtime, you know, usually your guide gives you a sack with a Subway sandwich in it and a bag of potato chips and maybe an orange or something like that. Our guide set up a table, brought out a linen tablecloth and spread it out, linen napkins, china plates, real silverware, and served us a gourmet lunch right there on stream side. I mean, it was services we're not used to, but really, really. Huh?
You got the name for that guy.
Yeah.
What's
His
in,
name was Jake.
what's inside those tortillas, Carlton? I'm interested in that.
They were, chicken tortilla wraps, some kind of chicken wrap. I mean, delicious. And all kind of fruit and all kind of other stuff. I mean, it was,
Watermelon.
yeah, watermelon, what's that green one? Nah. Some other kind of melon. He might have had cantaloupe too, I don't remember. There's another 22-inch brown that I caught in the same place right after lunch. He took me down. He said, now, look, you see that fish right there? And it was about 6 or 8 feet in front of me. I said, no, I don't see it. In water about that deep. He said, yeah, Stan, come on, back up. Hadn't even gotten in the water. He said, just cast right there. Another 22-inch brown. That's 2 22-inch browns in one day. Now, you know, I think I've caught before that trip, I had caught 2 22-inch, a 22 and a 23-inch fish in 12 years. And then on that day, I caught 2 22-inch browns.
Nice.
They have some really, really nice fish in that river. Bill, can you give that a little motion? This was, the guy said, let me take a picture of releasing this. And I thought that was pretty cool. Go ahead.
I'll do it again, might be a little smoother.
Yeah.
That's the same fish.
Yeah.
The hook's already removed, I assume, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you catch him again. You didn't let him just catch him.
I tried, but after we turned him loose,
Here's
I
Ed.
got educated. All right, some of you may know this guy. That's my brother-in-law, Ed Sanders, that lives in Oregon. Richard and Bill, y'all have fished with Ed. He was long. In fact, some of his crew met us there on the Oahe, and we fished together.
That's a big fish.
Ed and one of the other guys that fished with a guide on their first day and had a real good guide trip. All right.
That looked like a big fish right there.
They're pretty nice fish. And this was our Wahi crew, less Rocky. Always gets up in the middle of the night and leaves before, I don't know, he's kind of a shady character, I guess. And so he has to get out early before anybody catches him. But anyway, that was our Wahi crew. And just as we was getting ready to leave for, to head on to the next spot. From the Oahe River. Oh, and on the Oahe, it's strictly, like I said, a wade river, and it's just at the end of the road. I mean, you go to the Oahe River, you don't go past it. It's at the end of the road, but they have, in the first few years that I went out there with Ed and his crowd, we camped in teepees at a state park. You could rent these teepees at a state park. We camped there, and it was on a wooden floor, and they had running water and electricity and everything. And then they built a couple of cabins at this state park that Robert and I stayed at 5 years ago. Well, they also have down right on the river. The state park is about 5 or 6 miles past the dam up on the lake, and it's a curvy road. It takes a half hour to drive up to the state park. Well, right on the tailwater, right below the dam, they have a couple of houses that were built back in the, thirties, maybe the late twenties, when they were building the dam for employees building the dam. And they had a whole bunch of them. Well, they restored a couple of them, and they're nothing fancy, but they're comfortable. And, except for the showers was about this, like this. But anyway, no, you can rent those cabins, and they're really, really reasonable, and you rent them through Airbnb. And, so they have, you know, that's about the only accommodations there other than camping. At the state park, or quite a few people camp up and down the river, just, you know, what you call that?
Boondocking.
Yeah, yeah, camping in, well, in tents or little RVs or.
Is that what y'all do, Keith? Is it just,
We rent a trailer, you know, whatever,
RV kind of
RV
camper? Yeah.
type thing. And they set it up for us. We do it through some app that, like Airbnb, but it's for campers.
Yeah.
And then we usually have a spot we set up at, typically. This year I'm going, it'll be our 5th year. We go in April. Our water is a little bit different than yours.
Yeah, when we're there in September, it's usually about 230 cubic feet per second, I think. And I think when you go, it's probably like 90 feet or something like that.
A lot.
Yeah. It's the dam project is strictly an irrigation project. It is owned by, was operated by Bureau of Reclamation, but it's an irrigation project for the Owyhee River Valley, there in eastern Oregon. And so during the winter, when there's no need for irrigation for any of the crops, they just pretty much shut the flow off, just, I guess, basically a minimum. I think they go down to 30 CFS at some point. Just trying to hold water for the following year, you know, because, I mean, this is up in desert where there's not a whole lot of water. Well, there's a lot of watershed, but not a whole lot of water falls in the watershed. It originated, Owyhee River originates kind of in the north central Nevada and flows north in Oregon.
So is it better with high water or low water, you think?
Low water, you get crowded a little bit. Well, when we go, there's not many people.
Yeah.
It's 30 degrees. You know, but when the water's flowing, you've got a lot more access to a lot of other places, you know. And I know y'all probably saw some of those long stretches.
Yeah.
When we're there, you can't fish that because it's either grassed up or not enough water moving. You kind of have to pick your spots.
There's just all up and down the river, there's spots where you can fish. And I mean, probably 10, 12, maybe 15 miles of river that's stick trout water before it starts getting too warm. And so, I mean, there's good accesses all along where you can pull off the road into just kind of these, there's little paths, 2-track paths going through them, but it's just real, you know, a bunch of little rocks, big gravel, you know, that you go down and you can drive along. You can find plenty of fishing access. Like, I mean, I really like it. Some people think this is kind of morbid, but my intent is for some of my ashes to be scattered in the Owyhee River. And I pointed out to Robert and Tom and Rick. And Ed.
Carlton, I'm going in April. So.
Hey, no hurry.
No hurry. Give them my address.
That's so
No hurry.
I can take care of that.
Well, if it happens, you get in on it. Tunnel hole.
Okay.
Right down below the tunnel. Anyway, good fish there. From the Owyhee, we drove down to Dutch John, Utah, kind of in let's see, right in there. Flaming Gorge Reservoir, a beautiful area to fish. I mean, it is just probably the most scenic river that I have fished on. I really do enjoy it. We fished there 2 days, and now we caught really nice fish. Robert caught, what is that? Jim? That, is that a
What do you
so
call it, a red
sucker or what is
I don't
that?
know. You and Robert are experts.
Was that a whitefish, Robert? A nice whitefish. That was a lot.
Nice whitefish.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that is right there?
Mhm.
Whitefish is type of trout or what?
No, it's a sucker of some sort.
Oh, is it up there?
Well,
Kind of.
I don't know if it's a sucker or not. I
No.
don't think it is.
I think it's its own thing.
And it's a game fish.
Hmm.
I've caught them. We caught a few. Rick caught a bunch in the Oahe River. But yeah, they're scattered throughout the west.
They're native
that
out
was
there,
a-
aren't they?
There was a grass line right out in front of where I was wade fishing soccer. And then trees behind me, so I was pretty much having to broadcast. And if I didn't get it out far enough, I'd catch some whitefish every cast. Right on the edge of that grass line.
They're
their
their
own
own family.
The first time I
Yeah.
went out west, I caught whitefish. I asked the guy, I said, why are these things popular? They fight. He said, whitefish don't jump. So-
Whitefish don't jump.
This is why they're not so popular.
So anyway, we fished 2 days down at the Green River in Utah, there, Kisatchie, Utah, and that really good fishing down there. Just some really the whole stretch of the river is beautiful down there. We had a streamside lunch. The two boats were kind of fished along close to each other, and so we got together for lunch that day. Our two guys set up a table and they had a tablecloth, but it was just one of these little plastic. It wasn't near as fancy as the one that Rick and I had on the Oahe River. There's some serious rapids in the Green River. There's 2 stretches of the Green River. We fished both stretches, one day and one the next. The first stretch starts right below the dam, and I mean, where you put the boat in, you're looking up at a 500 and something foot dam, and I mean, it is scary. Just like, boy, what if the earthquake happens right now?
You
Well,
headed,
You asked it would be.
they'd be
there.
headed for the Hawaii.
Mother-in-law Rapids is a class 3 rapids, and it runs for probably a couple hundred yards. You need to know what you're doing before. Amateurs don't need to be doing that, although we did it 5 years ago. But
And you didn't go through
okay.
it this year?
Huh?
You didn't go through it this year?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you did?
with the guy.
Oh,
Yeah. And the guys, I mean,
You took the towway through it, Robert, 5 years, you took your towway through it 5 years ago?
Yeah. And you can imagine why it's called Mother-in-law Rapids. But anyway, the second section, which we did the next day, has probably class 4 to 5 rapids in it. But we made it through okay. The guys, I mean, they don't think anything. I didn't think anything of it with them. Now that is the only river that I have been on. Well, now that's not true, but one of the 2 rivers that I have been on that you're required to wear a life jacket, and not just a belt, not an inflatable, one of these big things with the collars will flip up behind you and everything. In fact, I might have been in one of the pictures you see them, but I mean, you're required by law to wear it. Adults, everybody in that river, floating that river.
Yeah, there's one. Mhm.
And look, It didn't bother me to wear it at all. We stayed at Red Canyon Lodge. They have some cabins that will sleep from 2 to 4 comfortably, and they have a little restaurant. I'd say not the best restaurant in the world, but the best restaurant right around now. But I mean, really nice. It's just, you know, it was probably mediocre fare, but it's just a great place to fish. I'd recommend anybody that's looking for, particularly if they want to go to a scenic place, to go to the Green River in Utah. That was a typical Utah sunset. Right out of right out of my cabin. All right, from Dutch John, from the Green River, we drove down toward the San Juan River in New Mexico. But we made a detour and spent a night around Crested Butte, Colorado, and just through some more sightseeing, and took a day sightseeing and doing laundry and resting on the way down to Navajo Dam, New Mexico, to fish the San Juan River. That's a
fat
nice
rainbow.
San Juan bow that who's that, Rick?
Yes, Rick.
Yeah, Rick caught. Next, another San Juan. We on our trip we fished 6 rivers. The 4 of us caught a total of 236 fish, and I figured fish per day at each river. And on the North Platte River, we averaged 17 fish a day. On the Madison, 19 fish a day. On the Yellowstone, 13 fish a day. And on the Green, 16 fish a day. And on the
No, green.
no, the
Hawaii.
Hawaii, 16 fish a day. The Green, 26, and the San Juan, 26. So, in my estimation, you know, we did a whole lot better on the Green and the San Juan River. But, you know, I just couldn't discount any one of the rivers. They're all good destinations to go to. And most of them have, you know, decent accommodations, except for the Hawaii is decent, but I mean, it's just, like I say, it's just at the end of the road. And next slide.
Where'd y'all stay at the San Juan? Same place we stayed years?
Enchanted Lodge,
Mhm.
same place you and I stayed.
Where's that at?
It's between Navajo Dam and Aztec.
So,
Okay.
yeah, on the Aztec Highway, just
Okay.
a couple of miles up.
Yeah,
San Juan.
probably about a 4-mile drive into
Mhm.
where the shops are and all, and then, you know, it's 15-minute drive to the access where they put the boats in. We drove, this is Robert's odometer when he got back, 4,989 miles. And so it's a 5,000-mile trip. We did a lot of driving to do some really good fishing. And when we on the way back, right when we got back, I said, you know, I really have enjoyed this, but this will probably be my last big Western trip and all. But after I'd been home a few days, I mean, we had so much fun. Our group, the 4 of us, we just, it was just fun. That was all it was. Plus caught a bunch of fish. And so about 5 years, I'll probably be about ready to go back again if I'm still here.
That's 21 miles of fish.
We're not gonna talk about dollars for fish. All right, I can't read the top of that.
Wait, I can't. Yeah, I can't get that. Hang on, let me see if I can get rid of it. I lost my balance. Just a minute. There it is.
this quote,
I can't make it high, Carlton.
fly fishing you don't,
Whoops.
fly fishing is not,
There it is, yeah.
yeah, the purpose of fly fishing isn't to catch fish, it's to go places where fish are caught. And who's this guy that?
John Girock, yeah.
Girock, I hadn't read any of his books, I think you've read.
I've got them all, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you read that last one, Robert? Did you? Yeah, they're all good. He's got 18, 20 books out.
Yeah. Well, I need to get some of them and read.
And then,
I think his quote there is
oh yeah,
really
he's
good.
real good.
All right, I think I have one more slide
You do.
there. If anybody's interested in just
Oh, yeah.
the lodging that we stayed at, in the guide service, if anybody's interested in copying that. Look, anybody gets a chance to do a trip like that, I just highly recommend it. You know, you're not gonna go out west and catch numbers of fish like we catch here in Arkansas. But man, it is an experience, just some beautiful country that we travel through. You can go some, like I said, places you go to catch
Yeah.
fish.
Beautiful.
Don't got anything to add?
Yeah, I asked you something.
All right,
How long did it take to get to Yellowstone? With no bear jam?
with what?
You don't have any bear jams in Yellowstone this time of year?
No,
Man, no. That usually take another hour and a half. to
We
get there.
didn't see it.
Good.
we got in a elk jam, I guess you'd call it, one time. And I mean, there was an elk laying in the woods as far as from the car to the door there, but you just couldn't see it. I mean, it was a big, I guess you call it a royal.
You get sort of lucky this time. Usually that's when they back up about 2 miles, we gotta wait through.
Yeah, well, I mean, the traffic through there was all stopped and there was a ranger there making sure that nobody stopped on the roads, you know? Didn't see the wildlife that I expected to see. We saw a few buffalo, but not a lot of buffalo. Wanted to see wolves, didn't see a wolf. But I guess the most wildlife we saw was antelope going through Wyoming. I mean, there's just way more antelope in Wyoming, pronghorns in Wyoming than in our people.
Yeah. What kind of flies did you use?
Mike, whatever the guy tied on, what were we using, Robert? Flies. Yeah, small nymphs.
Oh, lips and stuff.
Yeah, on the Oahe, when Rick and I fished with guys, we had stopped at, there's a really good fly shop in Boise, Idaho Anglers. And we had stopped there going through, it wasn't far off of our route. And, the guy, we told him where we were going for the next day and all, you know. And he recommended several flies and we picked up some. And one of them that he recommended was a split case, PMD. And, I mean, like a number 20. And, fish with that. When Rick and I fished with the guide, everybody's gonna have you fishing with a dropper rig, you know, a tandem rig. Nipping, you know, two flies on. But that was the guy that tied on a split case of blue wing olive. 18, number 20. I mean, small stuff. And that's what worked. But I didn't have any of them the next day and fished that split case PMD, that's Pale Morning Done. Was very, very similar to it, and it worked too.
Carlton,
Long
whether,
edges,
was it in,
Had some variety, I, on Yellowstone, I caught 5 good fish on the stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
On the San Juan, I caught 3 or 4, 5 on dries.
what kind of dries, Robert? Griffin snap?
No, it was like a. Really weird thing.
Now, when y'all were,
A Betas, I think it was
Betas.
like a Betas, I believe.
when y'all were fishing, nymphs, was it under an indicator or under
Yeah.
like a hopper? Under an indicator?
Yeah, we fished hoppers. One day on the North Platte, I believe.
I fished hoppers 2 days on the Great River.
I think you caught one, didn't you?
Yeah, but just about everything we caught was on the drop of those.
But the nymph rigs on the Green River were, we were fishing really heavy rods. Probably, with a balloon in the bottom, we indicated. And that rig probably had 14 foot of, little tickets. Gang of 3 flies.
Yeah, a whole lot of the water in the Green River is fast water, but it's deep, like 10, 12 feet deep. And so they'll have 3 flies. I don't know if we fish, I think we just fished with 2 with these guys. But I mean, you're having to get them down at the bottom, and so they'll have a drop shot rig below your bottom fly with like 10 BB shot. And,
It was like that day you and I were on the North Fork.
and it'll, it'll bump along the bottom as you go along, and your balloon will just, as you can tell, your balloon is just bumping along. There's a shot of bump at the bottom. And if you get a bite, that balloon is going to do something different, It won't pull it under, but it just does something different.
The first day I had a time figuring that out.
Yeah.
The second day I figured it out.
Figure it out.
What weight rod?
6s, I believe.
Six. So on the Hawaii, I caught most of my fish on an olive long. Underneath.
Yep, that's right. What we use here.
It'll be-
I got a question. I used to take my boys, we do the Golden Ring, which is, find Salt Lake City, we fish the Green River, the western Wyoming, eastern Idaho, up into Montana and all that. Lodging was never a problem 4 or 5 months in advance. Getting a guide for some of those days was near impossible, especially on the Green. So how did y'all manage to get the planning done for this trip and get the guys that y'all?
We put together kind of our itinerary, how many days, when we were gonna go. And we did it 6, 8 months in advance. Robert got all of the guys, and I think I got the ones in New Mexico, the same ones that we used
Y'all did way.
6, 7 years ago. But yeah,
And those are guys that y'all used before, or recommend.
It's the same as guide services. San Juan, we talked to the guy.
Is that the guy that's coach at Aztec High?
yeah, he's retired.
He's retired?
Yeah. Steve Gill,
Hmm.
Resolution Guide Service. Yeah, I'd highly recommend him. And there's several guide services there at, in the San Juan, Fish Heads,
Abe's,
your Dave's.
but I guess they're still in business.
We use like 4 guys there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Was the, in this, when you're in the San Juan, what was the flow like? Was it wadeable at all or?
It wasn't like the last.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
That was
I
5,000.
think it was like, it was more than that.
Yeah, they were late.
Take me a minute to find it, but
Because when we were there, it was like 3,300 or something. It was way
It
up.
was up to 5,000.
Downstream, huh?
And now it
800
went-
CFS. Yeah. And, oh yeah, when we were there, it was three to 7,000, I think,
Yeah.
one day. But the day we tried to wade, I mean, it was 3,000 in, and that was too much.
How did y'all do on days when you were fishing, on your own?
Not near as good as with a guy. Now,
That's
Tom,
always the case, but
Tom got into fish, one day. Tom and Robert, were fishing together, and Tom caught 25 fish in one spot one day. He caught 25 fish that day, and probably just maybe 24 of them at one spot. Yeah. Yeah. So,
There's a public place down there at the end of that, protected waters, where they stopped it at. And I think that's right before you get to the end.
Yeah.
There's a lot of small ones.
on the San Juan.
You're
On the
takeout.
Hawaii, that one day that Rick and I fished with the guy, that's the first time that I had fished with a guy there. When my first trip, I went with Ed, my brother-in-law, and his buddies, and I didn't know anything, but I just, dumb luck, I caught a 17-inch fish, and so, you know, a few thousands, a few tens of thousands of I don't know how much later.
A lot of fish.
I was hooked. Yeah, it's I'd go back out there, if I was going now, fly to Portland and stay with my sister and brother-in-law and then drive over, fish with them, you know. And a trip for them is an all-day trip, just like a trip to the White River in Arkansas is for us. Because it's all the way across Oregon. That's a big state. It's a western state. All of the western states are big states. Yeah. Anybody else?
So how far is the Waikiki way off fish from Boise?
Oh, an hour and a half drive.
That's all?
Yeah.
Don't you cross the state river then?
Yeah. Yeah, you sure do. Yeah. Hawaii dumps into the Snake. Look, we did some stuff that I didn't realize, you know, I knew we was in beautiful country, that, Bitterroot Range and all of that. I have been reading, Undaunted Courage, Stephen Ambrose's book about the Lewis and Clark expedition. And it's the second time that I've read it, but I've just, you know, gotten interested in it again. And I mean, we was in a lot of places where Lewis and Clark crossed. And I mean, it's just, it was pretty fast. Makes me want to go back and see it again.
Yeah, they waited.
Yeah, yeah.
They were in a 4-day expedition.
I don't know if y'all saw the two pictures right at the beginning. Can you?
Yeah.
We went in two Ford Expedition Maxes, and I don't think we could have gone, well, we couldn't have carried all of our stuff in anything any smaller. But we did carry way more stuff than we needed. You never know, you know. We had room for it, so we took it. You never know what kind of clothes you're gonna need out there. I mean, it can snow, it can be 30 degrees. And so you have to take winter clothes, summer clothes, the whole works.
You don't travel too big.
All right.
Good stuff, Carlton. Good stuff, man.
Out there. Yeah, like I said, 5 years maybe. And my next trip might be in a little box, matchbox, you know? So,
I know Tom Zabasky, what would he add if he were here?